Deadly drug hidden inside packages of candy. New at 11. ABC 10 News reporter Madison Weil is live in studio tonight with more on what parents.
I spoke with an expert who says we're seeing an alarming increase of fentanyl in these cute shapes and colors or inside wrappers.
400 kilograms of fentanyl, enough poison to kill every man, woman, and child in New York City. Twice. The Sinaloa cartel had stockpiled this death on American soil, ready to flood our communities with the most lethal drug ever created, generating billions in profit from American deaths. But federal agents just delivered the most devastating blow to cartel fentanyl operations in law enforcement history, when DEA and ICE coordinated across 5 states to seize what investigators are calling the largest fentanyl cache ever discovered in the United States. We're not talking about street-level dealing or random drug busts. Federal investigators uncovered a systematic fentanyl empire that connected cartel leadership in Mexico to distribution networks across American cities, revealing exactly how international criminal organizations establish death-dealing infrastructure that kills Americans while enriching foreign criminals. This seizure represents more than just drugs off the streets. It represents millions of potential American deaths prevented by federal agencies that coordinated their full authority to dismantle criminal infrastructure designed to poison entire communities. But what federal agents discovered about Sinaloa cartel fentanyl operations and the evidence they collected exposes exactly how international drug cartels exploit American communities to establish criminal empires built on American deaths. Stay locked in, because what DEA and ICE uncovered about cartel fentanyl distribution methods.
Federal agents say cartels are using a new tactic to smuggle drugs into the U.S. In all, agents say they recover 300,000 pills and more than 11 pounds of powder.
And the systematic approach they use to dismantle this death network will show you exactly why this historic seizure represents the blueprint for protecting American families from international criminal organizations that treat our communities as profit centers for deadly drug distribution. Before we continue, be sure to hit the subscribe button, as that fuels all the efforts behind these videos. On May 8, 2025, federal authorities announced the results of what they described as the largest fentanyl bust in DEA history. This wasn't a typical drug seizure. It was a coordinated operation across multiple states that resulted in the arrest of 16 individuals and the seizure of over 400 kilograms of fentanyl, enough to kill millions of Americans. DEA and ICE didn't treat this as routine drug enforcement. Federal agents recognized this as what it actually represents: chemical warfare against American communities, requiring immediate federal intervention, using maximum coordination and authority to prevent mass casualties. But what makes it truly historic isn't just the record-breaking amount, it's what it reveals about how international criminal organizations are escalating from drug trafficking to chemical weapons-level threats against American families. Let's break down what federal agents discovered. This wasn't random drug trafficking. The Sinaloa cartel had established systematic fentanyl stockpiling operations in New Mexico that federal investigators say represents the most dangerous chemical weapons cache ever assembled by international criminal organizations on American soil. The investigation centered around a sophisticated drug trafficking network led by 36-year-old Heriberto Salazar Amaya, identified as the leader of a Sinaloa cartel-linked organization. This wasn't a loose collection of street dealers. It was a highly structured criminal enterprise with connections across 5 states and direct ties to one of the world's most dangerous cartels. The scale of the seizure is almost incomprehensible. In a single storage unit rented by one suspect, 25-year-old Misael Lopez Rubio, agents discovered approximately 165.5 kilograms of fentanyl pills. And this was just one location in a network that spanned multiple states. Another suspect, 39-year-old Philip Lovato, had hidden 110,000 fentanyl pills in his stash house in Santa Fe, New Mexico. A third suspect, 31-year-old Roberta Herrera was found with approximately 365,000 fentanyl pills, along with heroin, cocaine, and an arsenal of 24 firearms in her apartment, where agents also encountered a child. Federal agents found evidence that this wasn't just fentanyl storage, it was systematic preparation for mass poisoning of American communities. The cartel had established distribution networks designed to flood multiple states with enough chemical poison to cause mass casualties while generating billions in profit. DEA investigators uncovered complete chemical weapons infrastructure, processing facilities for converting raw fentanyl into distribution-ready poison, packaging operations designed to maximize lethality, and distribution networks that could flood American communities with unprecedented amounts of synthetic death. The total seizure included more than 3 million fentanyl pills and 11.5 kilograms of fentanyl powder. But that wasn't all. Agents also confiscated 80 kilograms of methamphetamine, 7.5 kilograms of cocaine, and 4.5 kilograms of heroin. This was a massive multi-drug operation designed to flood American communities with deadly substances. Federal agents documented communication networks that connected this chemical weapons stockpile to Sinaloa cartel leadership in Mexico, revealing how international criminal organizations coordinate chemical attacks on American communities while maintaining operational distance from the mass casualties they cause. DEA and ICE didn't conduct isolated raids. Federal agents coordinated across 5 states simultaneously: New Mexico, California, Arizona, Utah, and Oregon, to ensure complete dismantling of chemical weapons infrastructure that threatened multiple American communities. The coordination between law enforcement agencies was exceptional. DEA's El Paso division led the investigation with assistance from the IRS Criminal Investigation Division. Local support came from the Albuquerque Police Department, Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office, Lea County Drug Task Force, United States Marshal Service, FBI, Bernalillo County District Attorney's Office, and multiple tribal police departments. This level of interagency cooperation demonstrates how seriously federal authorities took this threat. It was approached as a national security issue, requiring the combined resources of multiple agencies working in perfect synchronization. Think about this for a moment. Federal agents treated this operation as chemical weapons seizure, not routine drug enforcement. Specialized teams, hazmat protocols, and coordination that prevented potential chemical contamination while securing enough poison to kill millions of Americans. The operation required precise timing and execution. Search warrants were executed simultaneously across 5 states to ensure that no suspects could warn others or destroy evidence. This level of coordination is rarely seen outside of major terrorist investigations, a reflection of how deadly the threat was considered. Federal investigators didn't just seize fentanyl, they collected evidence of systematic chemical weapons preparation, communications revealing cartel plans for mass distribution, financial records showing profit projections from American deaths, operational plans for flooding communities with lethal synthetic drugs. The operation also netted approximately $610,000 in U.S. currency and 49 firearms, including weapons with switches and untraceable ghost guns. This arsenal wasn't just for protection, it was part of the cartel's infrastructure for maintaining control through violence and intimidation. DEA agents coordinated with international partners to document how the Sinaloa cartel establishes chemical weapons operations, revealing the systematic approach international criminal organizations use to conduct chemical warfare against American families while maintaining operational security. Federal investigators calculated that 400 kilograms of fentanyl represents over 200 million lethal doses, enough chemical poison to kill every person in New York City, Los Angeles, and Chicago combined. This seizure prevented what could have been the largest mass casualty event in American history. To understand the lethality of fentanyl, consider that just 2 milligrams, an amount smaller than the tip of a pencil, is considered a potentially fatal dose for an average adult. Compare that with the entire population of the United States, which is around 335 million people. DEA Acting Administrator Robert Murphy captured the significance perfectly, stating, "Behind the 3 million fentanyl pills we seized are destructive criminal acts thwarted and American lives saved. This wasn't just a bust, it was a battlefield victory against a terrorist-backed network pumping death into our cities." The economics of fentanyl trafficking are staggering. Because of its extreme potency, a small amount of the drug can be used to create millions of counterfeit pills. These pills can be sold for between $1 and $20 each on the street, turning a relatively small investment in raw materials into billions in profit. This economic incentive drives cartels to continue flooding American communities with this deadly substance. To put this in perspective, 400 kilograms of fentanyl represents more lethal capability than most chemical weapons arsenals possessed by hostile nations. The Sinaloa cartel had assembled chemical warfare capabilities on American soil, while local authorities treated it as drug trafficking. In February 2025, the Sinaloa cartel was designated as a foreign terrorist organization by the U.S. government, recognizing the extreme threat posed by their operations. This designation allows federal authorities to use additional legal tools to target the organization and its members, treating them not just as criminals, but as terrorists. Every kilogram seized represents hundreds of thousands of potential American deaths prevented. Federal coordination ensured that chemical weapons-level quantities of synthetic poison never reached distribution networks designed to flood American communities with unprecedented lethality. Attorney General Pamela Bondi emphasized the significance of this operation, calling it a significant blow against the Sinaloa cartel that removes poison from our streets and protects American citizens from the scourge of fentanyl. She reaffirmed the Department of Justice's commitment to dismantle every cartel network operating illegally in the United States. Federal investigators confirmed that fentanyl represents a new category of threat: synthetic chemical weapons manufactured by international criminal organizations, specifically to cause maximum American casualties while generating massive profits from death and addiction. The fentanyl crisis has reached unprecedented levels in recent years. According to the DEA, drug overdoses are now the leading cause of death for Americans between the ages of 18 and 44, with fentanyl driving a significant portion of these deaths. The agency reports that approximately 75,000 Americans die from fentanyl-related causes each year. Most concerning is how this synthetic opioid is often disguised as legitimate pharmaceutical pills. The DEA reports that 6 out of 10 fentanyl-laced fake prescription pills contained a potentially lethal dose in 2022, up from 4 out of 10 in 2021. These counterfeit pills are designed to look identical to prescription medications like OxyContin, Percocet, and Xanax, making them particularly dangerous to unsuspecting users. Local law enforcement lacks the authority, resources, and coordination necessary to address chemical weapons-level threats. Only federal agencies like DEA and ICE possess the capabilities to respond to international criminal organizations conducting chemical warfare against American families. The charges against the 16 defendants include conspiracy to distribute fentanyl, possession with intent to distribute fentanyl, and firearms offenses. If convicted, many of the defendants face mandatory minimum sentences of 10 years in prison, with maximum penalties of life imprisonment and millions of dollars in fines. This case proves that international drug cartels have evolved beyond traditional criminal threats to chemical weapons, level dangers that require federal responses typically reserved for hostile nations conducting chemical attacks on American soil. The DEA's record-breaking fentanyl seizure represents more than drug enforcement. It represents federal agencies preventing what could have been the largest chemical weapons attack on American soil in history. 400 kilograms of poison will never reach American families. The operation spanned New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, Oregon, and Utah, with the primary focus in Albuquerque, where much of the fentanyl was stored. This geographic spread demonstrates the scale of the cartel's distribution network and the complexity of the operation required to dismantle it. This operation proves that coordinated federal enforcement can defeat even chemical weapons-level threats from international criminal organizations. When DEA and ICE apply maximum coordination, criminal empires that threaten mass casualties face complete destruction. Among the arrests was Sinaloa cartel leader Heriberto Salazar Amaya, who was taken into custody in Salem, Oregon. His arrest represents a significant blow to the cartel's leadership structure and operational capabilities in the United States. The sophisticated nature of this operation reflects the evolving tactics of the Sinaloa cartel. No longer content with traditional drug trafficking, they have developed complex distribution networks, secure communication systems, and logistics chains that rival legitimate multinational corporations, all designed to maximize profit from human suffering. This historic seizure demonstrates that federal agencies like DEA and ICE represent America's first line of defense against international criminal organizations that use chemical weapons-level threats to conduct mass casualty attacks on American families. The fight against international chemical warfare requires Americans to support federal agencies that possess the authority and coordination necessary to prevent criminal organizations from conducting chemical attacks on our communities through synthetic drug distribution. Do you support the DEA and ICE's coordinated operations against international drug cartels? Should federal authorities expand these operations to target more fentanyl distribution networks across America? Share your thoughts in the comments below. For more breaking DEA raids, cartel takedowns, and federal enforcement updates, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a story that exposes America's fight against international chemical warfare.